Hello, I'm the narrator today. My name is Rongxuan Zhan, and I am also one of the directors of our graduation play. I will divide our video into 3 parts. First, I will talk about the original movie, My Fair Lady, introducing the history, background, and content of the story. Secondly, I will explain why we chose this movie to adapt as our graduation play. As for the third part, I will talk about how we adapt the movie, introducing the plot summary and characters of our play. Okay, the movie My Fair Lady is an American musical comedy drama released in 1964. The film was based on the 1956 Lerner and Lois Broadway production, which based on a greatest playwright George Bernard Shaw's 1913 stage play, Pygmalion. This film is a critical and commercial success. It became the second highest grossing film of 1964 and won 8 academic awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actor. Now, I will introduce the plot of the film. One day in London, at Covent Garden Market, the scholar of phonetics, Professor Henry Higgins, meets Mr. Pickering, a phonetic expert who comes from India to see him. Then, Higgins tells him that he can easily transform a young flower seller woman, Eliza Doolittle, who has a strong Cockney accent, into a duchess, who can attend the embassy ball. In the meantime, Eliza's ambition is to work in a flower shop. As a result, she went for Higgins' house in the following morning, seeking lessons. 3 days later, Eliza's father, Alfred P. Doolittle, comes to the professor's house, ostensibly to protect his daughter's virtue, but in reality to extract some money from Higgins. After a long conversation, Higgins is impressed by his natural gift of language and suggests him to go to Rotten Every Night Show Club. Back to Eliza's training. It is totally a disaster. Eliza doesn't make any progress since the day she started this project. However, just as everyone is about to give up, Eliza finally succeeds to speak correctly. Afterwards, Higgins decides to take her to Ascot Racecourse, where she meets Higgins' mother and Freddie Earnsford, a young upper-class man who becomes infatuated with her. At the beginning, Eliza behaves very well. No one there has doubted about her identity. Nevertheless, when the horse race starts, she becomes overly excited and cheers on a horse with a vulgar Cockney accent, which shocks everyone in Ascot. A few months later, Higgins takes Eliza to an embassy ball for the final test. She did a very great job there, not only successfully disguised herself as a princess, but also dances with a foreign prince. Afterwards, Eliza's hard work is barely acknowledged, with all the praise going to Higgins. Eliza loses, having a severe quarrel with Higgins, and walks out on him. On the street, Eliza meets Freddie and Alfred. After a lengthy and tedious conversation with Freddie, and listening to the story of brand new Alfred, Eliza eventually ends up visiting Higgins' mother, who is outraged at her son's careless behavior. The next day, Higgins finds Eliza gone and searches for her, eventually finding her at his mother's house. He attempts to talk Eliza into coming back to him, while Eliza ignores him and says that she will marry Freddie. Higgins hits the ceiling and goes back to his home. On the way home, Higgins finds that he can't live without Eliza at all. Eliza has become an important part of his life. He enters his house feeling lonely and missing Eliza so much that he turns on his gramophone and listens to her voice. Suddenly, Eliza reappears at the door and turns it off to catch his attention, with Higgins asking, "Eliza, where the devil are my slippers?" Second part, why we choose this movie. First of all, this movie is highly related to our department. There are phonetics and phonology everywhere in the film, just as language in our life. This graduation play is not just a performance. We also want to tell everyone that how interesting the language is. Secondly, this film can not only show our actors' acting skills, but also give them chances to perform their singing and dancing abilities. Third part, how do we adapt this movie? First, for the purpose of making it more familiar to the audience, we adapt this film into a contemporary version. For instance, we change Eliza's occupation from a flower seller woman into a waiter in the bar. On the other hand, we write some additional plots to make the play more complete. For example, we find that in the original movie, Eliza's attitude toward Higgins changed too fast. Third, we add a plot which other characters have in conversation with her. At the end of the video, let me disseminate our play. On December 7 and December 9, our graduation English play will be performed respectively at Jinan University and Puli Local Cultural Hall. Thanks for your attention.